Hi everyone, Miss Tui here. When programming, you may want to loop or repeat a set of instructions for your bot to follow. To get familiar with using loop blocks in Ozobot Blockly, you will program your Ozobot to complete a dance sequence. Are you ready to get your groove on? For today's lesson, you will need an Ozobot Evo fully charged and calibrated, and the Ozobot Blockly editor. After today's lesson, you will be able to define a loop as it applies to computer science, build a block-based code using loops to program your bot to complete specific actions, and explain how a loop block changes a sequence of code. A loop in computer science is a programming structure that repeats a sequence of instructions. There are three different types of loops. An infinite or forever loop repeats the same steps endlessly, and it has no condition to make it stop. A count-controlled or run-for loop repeats the same instructions for a certain number of times. A condition-controlled loop will keep repeating the steps until it gets a specific result. Today, you will explore the forever loop and the count-controlled loop. Let's think about the loop concept and how it applies to sequences in real life. Examples of count-controlled loops are your phone ringing X number of times before being sent to voicemail, jumping rope X number of times, going to school 5 days a week, or microwave cooking for X number of seconds. Examples of condition-controlled loops are a phone ringing until someone answers, a car moving until it has to stop, or a stopwatch counting up until you stop it. Examples of forever loops are breathing, the Earth rotating around the sun, the annual calendar, and the 24 hours in a day. Let's get started. Let's begin by opening up Ozobot Blockly and clicking on Level 2. You will build a code or programmed instructions for your bot to follow. The code will be built in a sequence or ordered set of instructions to program your bot to change color, spin right, and spin left. The sequence or order of instructions are important when programming your bot to complete certain actions. First, you will want to tell or program the bot to change its LED lights to look like a disco ball. You are going to go to Light Effects in the block panel. Do you see a block that will tell the bot to behave like a disco ball? Click and drag the disco block into the workspace. Next, you will want to tell or program your bot to spin right. You are going to go to Movement in the block panel. Do you see a block that will tell the bot to spin? Click and drag the Spin Left block onto the workspace and connect it below the disco block. Then use the drop-down menu on the block to change the instruction to right. Now, right-click on the spin block and click Duplicate to make a copy of it. Then use the drop-down menu to change the block to spin left and connect it below the spin right block. When you are done building your code, you should always test it to see if the programmed instructions are correct. Remember to turn on your bot and connect it by clicking on the Evo icon. Once your bot is paired with your device, you can click Run Program. Let's run the program. Can you build the first sequence of code to program your bot to behave like a disco ball, spin right, and spin left? Then test your program by clicking Run Program. The goal of the program is to make your bot dance. You will use a loop block to program your bot to complete the spin right and spin left movement 2 times. You are going to go to Loops. Which block do you think repeats a sequence a certain number of times? Click and drag the count-controlled loop into the workspace. Since the count is already set to 2 times, you do not need to change it. Next, click and drag the spin blocks to move them inside of the loop. The disco block will remain as the first instruction for your bot, but you do not want this instruction to repeat, so put it on top of the loop or repeat block. After you have added your loop, test out your program. How did the count-controlled loop change the actions of the bot? Let's run the program. Can you add a count-controlled loop to repeat the spin instructions 2 times? Then test your program to see how the actions of your bot changed. Let's keep this disco going. You are going to use additional blocks from the movement and loop categories to instruct your bot to complete the next part of the dance. You will need to add your code to program your bot to move forward 1 step and move backward 1 step 4 times. Let's go back to movement. Do you see a move forward distance 1 step speed medium block? You will need 2 of these. Remember, you can right-click on a block to duplicate or make a copy of it and use the drop-down menu to change the instruction on a block. Now let's look at loops. You will use another count-controlled loop, but this time you will need to change the count from 2 to 4. After you put the blocks in the correct sequence, click and drag from the loop block to connect your previous code below the other loop block. Let's run the program. Can you add your code to program your bot to move forward and move backward 4 times? Then test your program to see the next part of your bot's sweet dance moves. I think you've got the hang of it. Can you program your bot to complete the third part of the dance by moving in a small, complete circle and behaving like a disco ball again? Go back to the movement category and get the small circle medium forward left 1 second. Since the bot is traveling in the shape of a circle for only 1 second, you will use a count-controlled loop to program your bot to make a complete circle by repeating the movement 3 times. Go to Loops and get a count-controlled loop. Remember to change the count to 3. After you have put the blocks in the correct sequence, click and drag from the loop block to connect your previous code to the other loop block. Finally, go back to Light Effects to find another disco block to put at the end of your code. Let's run the program. Can you add to your code to program your bot to move in a small, complete circle and behave like a disco ball? Then test your program to see the final part of the dance. Ozobot is having so much fun dancing, it doesn't want to stop. You can use an infinite or forever loop to keep Ozobot dancing. Go to Loops to find the forever loop and click on it and drag it onto your workspace. Since you are going to have the entire dance repeat forever, you will place the forever loop above the first disco block in your program. You will notice that the block expands to wrap around the rest of the code. After you have added to your forever loop, you can sing or play your favorite song as you watch Ozobot dance along. The bot does not have instructions to stop once a forever loop is added. To stop the program, click Stop Program. Let's run the program. Can you add your code to program your bot to repeat the dance sequence forever? Then run your program to see your bot dance to your favorite song. Remember, to stop the program, you must click Stop Program, since the bot has not been instructed to stop. Check your work. Does your program have a set sequence of actions or movement blocks? Does your program begin with a light effect and end with a light effect block? Does your program have 3 controlled loops? When your program runs, does your bot complete the dance in the correct sequence? Looking for more? Use loops to create your own dance sequence and program your bot to complete it. Use loops to program your bot to move in different shapes: a circle, a square, a rectangle, and a triangle. Use loops to program your bot to behave like a merry-go-round. Come back again soon for our next lesson.